had the pleasure of interviewing Olumide Gbenro, Chief Global Officer at TEAMZ Inc, a venture funding platform based in Tokyo, Japan. His primary role is to facilitate the relationships between major stakeholders from the United States, China, and Japan, and facilitate the growth of the company. Olumide is a global entrepreneur, world traveler, polyglot, which I'm sure he'll be able to explain to us in a little bit, creative artist, film producer, and millennial influencer. Thank you so much for doing this with us today. What is your backstory?
So my backstory starts back in Lagos, Nigeria, where I was born. Basically, my family immigrated from Lagos when I was about 6 years old, and about 5 years was spent in London, England, and then I came to the United States right around when I was 12, 13, and we were fortunate to win the green card lottery and got to come and chase the American dream. So that's how I ended up sort of experiencing different cultures from such an early age. So by the time I was 13, I'd already lived on 3 continents. So backstory is I really, as an entrepreneur, I didn't really go to business school. I did everything traditionally. I went to an undergraduate university at Ohio University. Shout out to Bobcats. And, after I did my undergraduate university, I came to San Diego to pursue my master's in public health. So I really literally followed everything the traditional kid, with the parents who are very value in education should follow. But during college was when I explored entrepreneurship, and I started to host these networking events for foreign students. Who would have thought? For people from around the world. And that's where I started my first business and was able to connect with TEAMZ in Tokyo, and I partnered with them to host a networking event for some of the top executive CEOs from Asia, from China and Japan. And that's really where this journey headfirst into entrepreneurship began about 2 years ago.
Okay. All right. And thank you for that. Now, can you share any, funny or interesting stories that happened?
Yeah, I think something interesting more is being in Asian culture as someone that's Black or that's from a different culture, is that typically it's difficult to relate. But one of the things that's interesting is that because of my background in Nigeria, I sort of had the cultural understanding of like bowing and being respectful. And that was something that easily translated, respectfully bowing when you meet someone is something that was almost second nature to me. And I didn't even think about it till I was old. Now being older, it's like something that's been ingrained in me. And it was easy getting over to Tokyo, where they have a bowing culture, to show respect to people. Another thing was also on the business side that I thought was very interesting is I went in very excited to do business and meet all these high-level Chinese investors, and the meetings would start with just like getting tea and eating food together, and no business was discussed from the start. And I was like, I came here to do deals. And it turns out no, in our culture, when you show up, you want to meet the person, you want to gain trust, you want to understand their family, where they're from, where did they go to university. You want to get an entire range of this human being before you even talk about money or deals or connecting somebody for some sort of deal. So those were the really interesting things I've really found and learned in the last 2 years that I've been going over to Japan.
All right. And just to kind of elaborate, just a little bit more on different cultures, because definitely, with American culture, it's a little different, right? Sometimes it can get straight to the business and not really knowing you personally. So, as far as, other people that are watching you right now, can you just explain, really how important that is, and to show that difference between American culture and just other cultures, overseas when you're dealing with business?
Yeah, for us, it's really about making that personal connection. Often at our summits, we actually have private sit-down dinners with our investors. When we're introducing a project or someone that we believe merits investment, we actually have a sit-down dinner, traditional Japanese dinner, and actually get to know each other instead of what you would typically see for networking in other arenas. Is we all stand in a room, stare at each other, and see who's cool, who's not. We exchange business cards. Well, we have a different way of doing it. We bring people into a more intimate environment, candlelit dinner, and we let people introduce their projects. We let investors sort of share what is value to them, and the projects share their progress. It's not all about numbers all the time, and we just want to create sort of an environment where people feel comfortable, and that's where we've seen things go well.
All right, thank you. And, currently right now, what new or exciting projects are you working on right now?
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited because this year we'll be raising our first fund. We'll be raising somewhere between $3 to $5 million at TEAMZ. So it's really like in a short 2-year span, we've come from being a platform for just networking for executives to building relationships with all these investors from China and Japan, United States. And now we've built a network to where we can go and raise our first fund. So I'm pretty excited. It's a first time for me. I'm a 2-3 year entrepreneur. I'm no veteran. So for me, this is a very scary time, but it's also exciting in that we're building this brand new platform in Tokyo, and I'll be able to travel there, to be able to bring investors from America, from Silicon Valley, to go introduce them to all these amazing Japanese and Chinese investors. So pretty scary, but exciting times as we raise our first fund.
All right. No, that's definitely, really exciting. I mean, how do you feel overall about, going overseas, getting this funding, and then when you think about, others who are trying to get to where you are,
Yes.
what can you tell them as far as how to get that outside funding?
Yeah, you sort of have to take the leap of faith. You have to invest in yourself. So I 2 years ago decided to buy a ticket to Japan and create this sort of platform with 2 people that I met, students that I met here in San Diego. And I just took the leap of faith. I think the best advice I can say is if you have a feeling and you've done your research, to go and connect and network with the people that are leveling up or that you see are on the same level as you, that are talented and want to do big things. Go and connect on a personal level and start to build something together. So none of this would have happened if I didn't spend money to invest in myself, to go to Tokyo several times, to invest in this platform and inviting people, paying for staff, doing all these things to hopefully have a chance to create a very successful company. And now, after 2 years, is when we're finally seeing it. So again, invest in yourself, but also knowing that it's going to take time for you to reach your goals to where you want to be.
All right, thank you. And is there a particular person who you are grateful for that helped you with your success today?
Yeah, I mean, I have to give a shout out to my parents, first of all. Traditional Nigerian parents, they were critical about this business thing. I had 2 degrees. It's like, why don't you just go straight into a job? But really, I have to say thanks to my parents so much. Funchal, TT Gbenro, love you guys. I'm very grateful for the more of the moral support and the base of understanding of what it's like, how I should run myself before I run my business. That's really what's helped to push me to the next level. And secondly, obviously my siblings, they've always been there for me. Olumide, Ayimide. And next, my best friend in San Diego, Mateen Nazari. This is the guy that's actually helped grow my brand to where photos, videos, the things that you see on my social media, the content I create that's also helped me sort of show what it's like to be a global entrepreneur. This guy, Mateen Nazari, has literally changed my life. And then lastly, a real estate partner of mine, Rod Watson, who I learned a lot about in terms of business when I first started throwing these high-end luxury networking events. He's a celebrity real estate agent. I learned a lot about marketing and branding from him. So definitely it's a team effort. I'm not here just by myself. It's really been family and, you know, a few really close friends that literally have supported me to help me get to where I am. So I'm very grateful for all these people.
Yeah, no, definitely. And just to kind of like expand on that, because when, you know, we talk about, you know, people encouraging us, you know, giving us inspiration, you know, definitely within the Black community, you know, at times, you know, we can see that it is missing, you know, really, you know, positive self-encouragement, you know, not trying to become, you know, a rapper, not trying to become an athlete, but actually going out there, trying to make it on your own, building a business. But the main thing is getting that support, and getting that support is so important. So, you know, how do you feel about that as far as, you know, support within the Black community to, you know, help our young entrepreneurs to come up?
I think it's getting better. I think that it's going to take people like myself, other people that you're interviewing, to step up and use our platform to not just inspire and say, hey, I made it, guys, but really to provide opportunities for young Black men and women to also be able to do the things you're doing. So for myself, although TEAMZ is not necessarily minority focused, everything I do with TEAMZ is going to strategically bring in talented Black men, boys, and girls, because I have this unique opportunity to go overseas to where they don't necessarily see color. They see talent. They see, can you make us money? And I know if I can identify other people like myself, hopefully inspire people through this article and people that reach out, bring people that look like me to Tokyo and make it an interesting sort of melting pot. So I think it's going to take people like myself, people to step up to make this an even bigger emphasis. But I think a lot of big people out there, celebrities, I know Diddy's doing things like this. Daymond John is doing things to encourage and uplift minorities and people of color. And I just want to play my role. You know, I'm not here to be famous. I'm here to create opportunities for my family and people that look like me, and people who are interested in diverse opportunities abroad. So, yeah.
All right. Thank you. And, you know, can you share your top 5 lessons that you've learned from your experience as being a Black man in tech?
I think just work. The first one I say, just work. I think being a minority in America, that's not been easy, you know, but I'm a firm believer that the internet changed everything. So putting your head down, just working, not complaining, use the power of the internet. Because people, when you produce or create a product or service or something you put online, no one knows who's really creating it. If it's something that warrants a value, you can do well. You can do very well with it. So I say, just work, put your head down. Another thing I'd say is focus on what matters. I'm definitely in the school of Gary Vaynerchuk. And I think 99%, like he said, 99% of things we do don't really matter. So for me at TEAMZ, it's mainly focusing on building relationships, meeting with investors, talking to people who can provide value and that we can provide value to, and none of the little nuances that people really get stuck on. Another thing I'd say is to strengthen your strengths. So I think a lot of entrepreneurs, we try to do so much. Oh, you know, I want to start this business that helps people shop. And the next week you want to like create a new Uber. It's like, focus on the things that you're talented at. For me, I realized, you know, I'm great at connecting with people. I'm great at being multicultural, you know, speaking languages. Go and find people and connect and bring value to those people instead of trying to be CEO. And I've tried a couple of companies where I try to be the man in charge. And I realized, no, you don't have to be a CEO. You can just be a part of an amazing Justice League, provide your value to the company and see yourself grow. Another thing I'd say is balance is very important. I think everyone gets stuck on, man, the hustle, 18-hour days. And it's like, no, you don't have to do 18-hour days. You could do 14, 10, or 5 one day and really be able to check yourself and psychologically be able to have peace of mind, not just trying to be the stereotypical entrepreneur. So having balance, working out. I work out a lot to keep my body right. Meditation, prayer, is really important to me. So yeah, that's it. And the last thing I say, friends and family come first, you get older and you realize how important life is and how important family is. And I'll call my mother and my sister and check in, because that's sort of what matters. It's not about how much money you're making. It's really, what impact you're making on your family and then people in your community, people that are around you. So those are the 5 things I'd say.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And what would be your favorite life lesson quote?
I think it's the one that kind of goes that kindness costs $0. You often get caught being so focused on business, so focused on money, so focused on so many of these like material things. But I think when it comes down to it, having empathy in business and the relationships that you build with people is one of the most important things. One of my favorite life lessons. Like, it's like, relax, like, be kind to people, and see how that, transpires and makes your life better, because there's no need to stress.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. And, what books, would you suggest, to any, young entrepreneur, young executives that are out there? What books would you suggest to them?
I love Gary Vaynerchuk. I'd say definitely Jab, Jab, Right Hook. It just like this book is basically, if you're going to be successful, you're not going to be successful from the start. That's kind of one of the things I learned. It's like, you have to realize that everything is sort of a game, a timing thing. And even for this company with TEAMZ, nothing happened for like a year and a half. Like, we invested so much money in, like I said, hiring staff, the travels, the hotel, bringing people from abroad to sort of build our brand, but nothing happened for 2 years. So I'd say, Jab, Jab, Right Hook is an amazing book that from Gary Vaynerchuk, I think every entrepreneur should read. Honestly, yeah.
I like that. And then now, finally, is there a person in the world that you would love to have a private breakfast or lunch with, and why?
Daymond John. Daymond John is definitely one of my biggest inspirations in entrepreneurship. I think partly I have a small marketing company here in San Diego, and understanding branding, this was the first guy to sort of use influencers, where he gave clothing to LL Cool J, and he wore it in the videos, and then people started to wear the clothing, and his FUBU blew up because he had an influencer wear his clothing. So it's like, learning tactics and things related to branding from him has been huge for me in my personal business, doing branding and marketing. So I would love to meet him just to pick his brain, to learn what it takes to be that successful, because it's someone that, like you asked in the earlier question, who's out there to help young Black people to look up to. That's Daymond John for us. And second, I say Elon Musk. Elon, if you're watching this, I would love a 10-minute coffee with you, because this guy is such a visionary in the way he thinks. There's no failure with Elon. So I think meeting with him as well would be an amazing experience, just to pick his brain. This guy's proved doubters wrong, time after time. So Daymond, if you're watching, would love to get coffee with you. Elon, let's link up.
I love it. Well, Olumide, thank you so much, for taking the time, to talk with me today, sharing your experience. Before we go, is there any last minute words that you would like to share with the world today?
I think it's just to be committed to what you're doing. Whoever's listening to this, who wants to start a business, who wants to go abroad, don't be afraid of exploring things outside of America, exploring opportunities around the world. I say, because I have such a global perspective, I just want to share that the world is, I know that things are interesting in America right now, but realize that the world is open to you, and explore the things that you're passionate about without fear. That's what I'd say. I'd say explore without being afraid of the consequences. And find people. Another thing, actually, I say find people who align with your vision and who provide you value. That way, that you're headed in the right direction, even if it takes 2, 5, 10 years. You know that you're headed in the right direction with the right people. And that's what I'd say. I'd say, for me, I'm a brand, enthusiast, someone who really believes that building your brand is important. So I'd say work on building your brand, something that's respected, that people, when they think about you or your brand, they think positive things. And that's about it.
All right. Well, Olumide, thank you so much. Thank you for this interview. Very, very inspirational. And I think that, everyone who will be, reading your article and also watching this video, I think they will definitely be inspired. So, thank you so much. I will have Olumide's LinkedIn information below, so you can click there, so you'll be able to get in contact with him. But Olumide, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. And, like I said, just thank you for doing this, because, like I told you earlier, I think that highlighting Black men in tech, I think that it's something that is needed. And, like I said, we're going to be able to get some traction on this thing. We're going to get this thing out there. We'll pull in more, people like yourself, and hopefully we'll be able to do a panel discussion as well.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
So that's, that will be the goal there. So, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jane, for the opportunity.